What's going on, guys? I hope you all are having a great day. This video, as you can see from the title, is about challenging the ball in Rocket League. And more specifically, when you should challenge the ball, when you should not challenge the ball, and why you should do one or the other. Okay, so first I want to make it clear, when I say challenge the ball, I mean like going for the ball, or tackling the opponent. Hopefully all of you knew what that meant already, and I'm just over-explaining. Knowing when to challenge the ball is something a lot of people struggle with. Even a lot of my friends who are really high grand champions say they struggle a lot with this, and I haven't seen anyone make a video on this or anything about this, and it's a really important skill to have, so I'm kind of surprised by that. Just so you guys know, I actually haven't ever made any mistakes whenever I challenge the ball.
But that is a big whoops by Musty.
So I'd say I'm a pretty credible source to be hearing this from. Seriously though, no one in the world can perfectly challenge the ball every time. So it's not like after watching the video you're gonna be some magical god who perfectly challenges every ball every single time or anything. But hopefully by the end of the video you at least learn something new and are better at challenging the ball than you are now. I'm gonna be giving you some knowledge and tips and tricks, so let's get into the video. First, I want to explain a concept that many people call shadowing. Shadowing in Rocket League is the equivalent to what people call jockeying in soccer. It's basically a defensive tactic where you mirror your opponent and find the best time to challenge the ball. And you do this by positioning your car on the same side of the field that the opponent's car is on while he's dribbling. And as he dribbles towards your goal, you drive towards your near post. And doing this essentially forces your opponent to shoot the ball where it's easy for you to save. Notice how in this clip King Ranny is starting his dribble from the right side of the field. Since I noticed that, I positioned my car on the right side of the field as well, and did my best to mirror what he was doing, so it was easy for me to save the ball. You want to position your car far enough away from him to where you can save the potential flick, but close enough to the defender to where if he decides to cut, or if he makes a mistake, then you can immediately challenge the ball. And it's kind of a sweet spot to know where you should be positioned. And it may take some time getting used to. But this video isn't 100% about shadowing, but shadowing is a big concept in the video I'll be talking about a lot. And it's the foundation of your defense in 1v1. So it's really important to learn this, and it makes challenging the ball a lot easier. And shadowing can be used in 2v2 and 3v3 as well, but in 1v1 you're always the last man back, so you always have to shadow pretty much. If you want to know more details about shadowing, I'll link Sunless Khan's video about it in the description. What I'm going to be doing is analyzing some clips from my 1v1 replays where I either challenge the ball or fake challenge, or something along the lines of where I have to make a confrontation with the opponent. And hopefully I'll touch on a lot of the things I want to talk about in regards to my decision making process and why I do some of the things that I do. And you can try to implement some of these defensive tactics or ways of thinking in your own game. In the first clip here, I do a fake challenge. And because I acted like I was gonna challenge the ball, it made him flick the ball right away, which resulted in me gaining possession of the ball. The main reason I did this little fake challenge here is so I could get in that sweet spot where I'm shadowing the ball. So if he doesn't get baited into flicking the ball right away, I'm still in a really good position to save the ball, like I explained earlier. And the reason it wouldn't be smart to challenge the ball here is because right here, I see that he's capable of flicking the ball right over my head. And even if I did challenge the ball here, it would probably just hit off the wall, and there's no real benefit of me doing that. So the risk outweighs the benefits, and that's why I just decided to fake challenge and get into a shadowing position. Okay, the next clip here is where I go for the ball right away and don't let the opponent start a dribble. Okay guys, I think it's about time I talk about the rulebook. The definition of a rulebook is regulations or standards of behavior that should be followed in a particular job, organization, or sphere. Sphere? What? Anyways, in Rocket League you need to have your own little rulebook in your head. Especially for defense. In offense you can have one too, but it doesn't have to be as structured and you don't have to be as strict with it. For me, having this mental rulebook is the one thing that helped my defense and decision making improve a ton. So what I mean by a defensive rulebook is if you see the attacker do X, then you should do Y. And if the attacker does A, then you should do B, and so on. And the more strict you can be with this, you'll notice the more consistently better you'll be at defending. And having this rulebook can help you with like split-second decisions. So right here, notice that we're going supersonic, and I have a decision to make. I could keep going and challenge the ball, or back off and start shadowing and get in that sweet spot to defend. At this exact moment, I can see he doesn't have the ball on the hood of his car, so he's not capable of flicking the ball over me. So if he tries to bounce the ball up, I will win the challenge, or at least get a really good 50-50 on it because I'm already going full speed. And he has almost no momentum. So with all these different factors analyzed, my split-second mental rulebook is saying, if he pops the ball up, then I will go for the ball. And pretty much if he does anything else, like keep the ball low, then I'll just back off and get into that shadowing position. I know that was kinda complicated, but I just wanted to explain that thoroughly. Just certain ways you can think, not anything to do with your skill in-game. Just certain ways you can think that can really help with your decision making and challenging. So moving on to the next clip here, you can see it's another situation where the attacker has possession of the ball and is starting up a dribble. I start creeping up towards him here because I want to do anything I can to not allow him to have a free dribble towards my net. Anything that could scare him and mess him up or make him flick it right away without having a good chance to set the ball up for himself. As I drive towards the ball, I see he is capable of getting a power shot or flick on me because it is already high enough on his car to where he could get one on me if I challenge. So I make sure to back off and to start shadowing the ball. And at this point I just have to accept that I didn't get the fake challenge to work, and I either have to get ready to save his shot or let him make a mistake. And he did let the ball drop to the ground here, so that's a little bit of a mistake. And I'm doing these little half turns here to see if I'm able to go to the ball while still blocking my net. But both times I couldn't fully complete the turn and challenge, because he was able to potentially hit it over me. So this is one of the cases where the rulebook is telling us that we can't go for the ball because the attacker can hit it over us. And that's why it's really important to set strict rules for yourself. Because if I was here, like, you know what, maybe I could challenge the ball, but there's a chance he could get it over me, but I'm gonna go anyway, then you would probably get more goals scored against you. Just because you don't have that yes I can go for the challenge or no I cannot go for the challenge mindset. So as you can see here from the end of the clip, we did actually find a spot where we could safely challenge the ball, because we were patient and we waited for the attacker to make a mistake and he dribbled at an angle where I could challenge the ball, without leaving him any room to score. When an attacker has possession of the ball, you can do two things: challenge the ball, or don't go for the challenge and start shadowing. In the first clip and the clip I just showed you, I decided not to go for the initial challenge. I decided not to because in both the clips, as I was approaching the ball, I saw that the attacker had the ball in a position on his car where he could get it around me. In the second clip, I did decide to instantly challenge the ball because I noticed he had low boost and he did not have the ball in a spot where he could get it around me if I challenged the ball. In the second to last clip here, it's another situation where the attacker is dribbling the ball at me, and I eventually do decide to challenge the ball. And I'm not going to go in as much detail because I feel like I explained everything really thoroughly in the last clips, but you can see I am in the shadowing position I talked about. I'm trying to be close enough to the ball where I could potentially challenge the ball, but still far enough away where I could block a flick or a shot. And I notice we're going really slow, so I start closing the distance a little bit, and it's at the point where he drops the ball and lets it roll in front of him, where I know it's safe for me to challenge the ball. And another thing I haven't mentioned yet, when you do decide to challenge, you have to go 100%, you can't hesitate at all. So when your mental rulebook is telling you that the factors line up to where it's safe for you to challenge, you have to go immediately. You can't really think about it or hesitate. The final clip we have right here, I'm just gonna let it play on its own real quick. Obviously I outplayed the opponent without challenging the ball, and I just did 2 fake challenges. It did work so well because he popped the ball up a little bit too high, so he really thought I had a good chance of scoring because he made a little bit of a mistake, but I thought it was a little bit too risky to go for the first one, so I just opted out of challenging the ball. After he got faked by my initial fake challenge, the ball is no longer in his possession. And his recovery is a little bit too long, so he pretty much has to predict where I'm gonna shoot and try to pre-jump to save it, so I just faked the second one and had an open net to shoot at. Okay guys, that's about it for the video. I know it was just me talking really in depth over a few clips, and I know it can get a little boring, but I'm really just trying to help you guys out on something that not many people talk about, but a lot of people struggle with. So if this helped even one of you gain some insight or learn something new, that's my goal. And that's about it, so I'll see you guys in the next video.